Release me! Okay, check this out.
Have you ever noticed how hard it is to leave something you understand, even when it's not really good for you?
When you know what to expect, staying feels easier than stepping into the unknown, even when the unknown might hold something better for you.
And once something feels predictable, it starts to feel manageable.
Type shit! Have I been released yet? No. But honestly, I know it's gonna feel really good once I'm released. Anyway. I think I'm like 90% of the way there. Anna Karenina. Sorry that I haven't really been reading it, but let's go. Next morning, Konstantin Levin left Moscow, and toward evening he reached home. On his way back in the train, he talked with his fellow passengers about politics and the new railways and felt oppressed, just as in Moscow, by the confusion of the views expressed, by discontent with himself, and a vague sense of shame. But when he got out of the train at his station, and by the dim light from the station windows saw his one-eyed coachman, Ignat, with his coat collar turned up, and his sledge with his carpet-lined back, his horses with their tied-up tails, and the harness with its rings and tassels, and when Ignat was still putting the luggage into the sledge, began telling him the village news, how the contractor had come, and Pava had calved, Levin felt that the confusion was beginning to clear away, and his shame and self-dissatisfaction to pass. He felt this at the mere sight of Ignat and the horses. But when he had put on the sheep-skin coat that had been brought for him, and well wrapped up, had seated himself in the sledge and started homeward, turning over in his mind the orders he would give about the work on the estate, and as he watched the side-horse, once a saddle-horse that had been overridden, a spirited animal from the dawn, he saw what had befallen him in quite a different light. He felt that he was himself, and did not wish to be anyone else. He only wished now to be better than he had been formerly. First of all, he decided that he would no longer hope for the exceptional happiness which marriage was to have given him, and consequently he would not underrate the present as he has done. That's what I'm doing, guys. Honestly, guys, people are like, oh, are you gonna get married? It depends on the person. With the right person, yes, but I might never find the right person, and that's okay. I have been released from the propaganda that is that you have to get married to the person that you love, or blah, 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 whatever. I'm kind of just riding the wave, and it's fucking awesome. But anyway, guys. Secondly, he would never allow himself to be carried away by passion. Not me. I'd be getting carried away by that. But whatever. The repulsive memory of which had so tormented him when he was making up his mind to propose. Then, remembering his brother Nicholas, he determined that he would never allow himself to forget him again, but would watch over him, keep him in sight, and be ready to help him when things went hard with him. And he felt that would be soon. Then his brother's talk about communism, which he had taken lightly at the time, now made him think. He considered an entire change of economic conditions nonsense, but he had always felt the injustice of his superfluities compared with the peasant's poverty, and now decided, in order to feel himself quite justified, that though he had always worked hard and lived simply, he would in future work still more and allow himself still less luxury. And it all seemed to him so easy to carry out that he was in a pleasant reverie the whole way home, and it was with cheerful hopes for a new and better life that he reached his house toward 9 o'clock in the evening. A light fell on the snow-covered space in front of the house, from the windows of the room of his old nurse, Agatha Mikhavlovna, who now acted as his housekeeper. She had not yet gone to bed, and Kuzma, whom she had roused, came running out barefoot and still half asleep on the porch. Laska, a setter bitch, ran out too, almost throwing Kuzma off his feet, and whined and rubbed herself against Levin's knees, jumping up and wishing, but not daring to put her front paws on his chest.
"You have come back, sir,"
said Agatha Mikhavlovna. I was homesick, Agatha Mikhavlovna. Visiting is all very well, but there is no place like home, he replied, and went into his study. A candle just brought in gradually lit up the study, and its familiar details became visible. The stag's horns, the bookshelves, the looking-glass, the hot air aperture of the stove with its brass lid, which had long been in need of repair, his father's couch, the large table on which were an open volume, a broken ashtray, and an exercise book in his handwriting. When he saw all this, he was overcome by a momentary doubt of the possibility of starting the new life of which he had been dreaming on his way. All these traces of his old life seemed to seize hold of him and say, No, you will not escape us, and will not be different, but will remain such as you have been, full of doubts, full of dissatisfaction with yourself, and of vain attempts at improvement followed by failures, and continual hopes of the happiness which has escaped you and is impossible for you. That was the things it said, but another voice within his soul was saying that one must not submit to the past, and that one could do anything with oneself. And obeying the latter voice, he went to the corner where two 36-pound dumbbells lay. No, not the gym arc! Not the gym arc, hell no. And began doing gymnastic exercises with them to invigorate himself. He heard a creaking of steps at the doorway and hurriedly put down the dumbbells. His steward entered and said that
The Lord be thanked.
everything was all right, but that the buckwheat had burned in the new drying kiln. This news irritated Levin. The new kiln had been built and partly invented by him. The steward had always been against the new kiln, and now proclaimed with suppressed triumph that the buckwheat had got burnt. Levin felt quite certain that if it had been burnt, it was only because the precautions about which he had given instructions over and over again had been neglected. He was vexed, and he reprimanded the steward. But the steward had one important and pleasant event to report. Pava, his best and most valuable cow, bought at the cattle show, had calved. Kuzma, bring me my sheepskin, and you tell them to bring a lantern. I will go and have a look at her, he said to the steward. The sheds where the most valuable cattle were kept, just behind the house. Crossing the yard past the heap of the snow by the lilac bush, he reached the shed. There was a warm steaming of smell of manure when the frozen door opened, and the cows, astonished at the unaccustomed light of the lantern, began moving on their clean straw. Levin saw that the broad, smooth, black, mottled back of a Dutch cow, the bull Berkut, with a ring around his nose, was lying down and almost rose up, but changed his mind and only snorted a couple of times as they passed by. The red beauty Pava, enormous as a hippopotamus, turned her back, hiding her calf from the newcomers and sniffing at it. Levin entered the stall and examined Pava, who, becoming excited, was about to low, but quieted down when Levin moved the calf toward her, and sighing heavily began licking at it with her rough tongue. The calf fumbled about, pushing its nose under its mother's belly and swinging its little tail. "Show a light here, Theodore. Here," said Levin, examining the calf. "Like its mother," he said, although the color is its father's. Very fine, big boned and deep flanked. Vasily Frederick, isn't she fine?" he said, turning to the steward, and quite forgiving him for the buckwheat under the influence of his satisfaction about the calf.
Whom should she take after not to be good? Simon, the contractor, came after you left. We shall have to employ him, Constantine Demetrius, said the steward. I told you about the machine.
This one question led Levin back to all the details of his farming, which was on a large and elaborate scale. He went straight from the cowshed to the office, and after talking things over with the steward and with Simon the contractor, he returned to the house and went directly upstairs to the drawing room.